Hey, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we're going to talk a little bit about hand health. I know that all of you have probably been taught that before you play, you want to do a series of exercises, and I'm not even going to go into any real details about that. Obviously, probably the best way to keep your hands in best shape is playing a lot, and I don't think anybody would really argue that practice makes perfect. However, there's a lot of time that we're in between playing. We're in between our opportunities, or we're in places where we can't have our bass and our amp and all that, and we want to keep our hands in optimum shape. Let's look at some of the possible things that we could use to keep our hands in their peak condition to make our playing as fun and as healthy as we possibly can. So let's talk about a few of these tools that can help us keep our hands healthy. I'm going to start with the simplest and kind of the most common, and that is these kind of foam squeezy apparatus. This one happens to be a dice. They come in ball shapes. They come in unusual shapes. This one just happens to look like a light bulb. And they can be found readily most everywhere. Many places give them away with their logo on them so that you'll remember where they are. And you could certainly work your fingers. It does a lot for your closing strength, and of course this is when you do this you feel it in your forearm, but when you look closely you'll notice it really doesn't do much as far as working the rest of the muscles, and it doesn't do anything for individual fingers. So inexpensive, pretty easy to get a hold of. Next, I'm sure everybody has seen these. They're probably lying around in some drawer in everybody's home. And these are the spring hand exercise things. You can certainly build your forearm strength and finger strength, but it is very limited into how you can work this. Granted, you can flip it over and slightly kind of change it up. And it's good to have, good grip strength, but also lacks very much in the opening and closing. Now, there are some exercises where you can kind of almost do an isometric exercise where you're holding it closed. So you can play along with it, but I think it's just more on the realm of kind of brute strength versus the fine motor skills we want to develop and keep going when we're playing a string instrument. That said, what we've got here is a grip master, and basically what they did very intelligently is they made it so you can work individual fingers. So the idea is this is going to mimic what you're doing working on the fretboard. Certainly if you're using, I'm right-handed, so if I'm doing this, this is working the muscles that I'm using for fretting. You can do them together, so it's a little bit like the spring grip here, but it does have a few more possibilities and is fairly compact and will fit in your pocket and can go anywhere you want to go. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. This is a shred neck, and it's comparable to the pocket picker. And basically, this is, even though it looks kind of like a headless bass, it's not actually a musical instrument. And so you can take this with you and kind of duplicate the experience because the strings do have tension. They just don't really make any noise. And so what you can do is you can work your, and this is hard to do holding it away from myself in front of the camera, but you get the idea, is I can work my fingers on my left hand, or I can kind of work my right hand in a similar fashion and kind of mimic what I'm playing. And I could do some runs, I can do some patterns. The flaw in this is you can't hear if your notes were right or wrong. So you could, if you've got a kind of a pattern down, you just want to work it and work it and work it, it would be fine. A little heavier, a little bigger, a little bulky, but also not too terrible, if you've got to be at work and you've got a little time, a little downtime, and you've got your hands free and you want to kind of get something going. I know that a lot of people like something like this, to warm up before a show when they can't be making noise, like you're backstage or something. You want to get your hands kind of going. Something like the shred neck or the pocket picker could work to do something like that. Last but not least, I'm going to talk a little bit about Power Putty, and you'll see it's in a convenient little carrying case here. If we squeeze it, what we find is some silicone putty. Now, this is a medium strength silicone putty, and I can use it in many ways just like these other tools that I had. So the first thing is I can squeeze it, not unlike squeezing these things. I can kind of crunch, like I'm getting my spring-loaded thing. I can work individual fingers the way I would be working the Grip Master or working on the frets here. But I can also do opposing digit movements. So I can wrap it around a finger and pull away. Do this again, another finger, kind of pull away. I can pull away, and the smaller the finger, I'm giving myself a little leeway there. Something else that you can do is you can work your thumb. So if you want to strengthen, you can be pushing in with just your thumb to get that opposing pressure, but you're working those muscles specifically. In addition to that, you can work in between your fingers. Now, not that that's going to come in too common, but it is a muscle group that you're really not able to work with any of these other tools. The other interesting thing, if you want to be kind of opening as a group, you make kind of a pancake looking thing like this, put your fingers inside, and now you are opening, working against that resistance that you have there. Now, once you've got this kind of stretched out, you can also kind of do openings like with separate groups. So you can see there's all kinds of ways that you can work opposing muscle groups, whether you're closing, you're opening, you're doing lateral movements, you're isolating it to your thumb or a particular digit that you want to strengthen more. Pinkies are notoriously lacking for strength. So this, in a very portable way, can help you do that. Highlights of this, it comes in 3 strengths. Again, this is the medium, but it does come in a lighter body or a heavier body. It's pretty easy to take with you. It'll fit in this little case, so you can take it wherever you're going. If you're traveling, it doesn't make any noise, so it won't really bother anybody else. Occasionally you'll catch a little air. It'll make kind of a popping noise, kind of like chewing gum. But other than that, it's not too bad. And it has no odor, and it doesn't have any residue on your hands, and so you're not getting anything greasy. So better living through silicone with this. So the long and the short of it, any of these may be able to help us maintain and increase the dexterity, keep those muscle groups working, and give us the opportunity to enjoy playing well into the years. And we can seize these opportunities where basically we may be just wasting time doing something useful, that when we have the time to do what we really enjoy, which is playing bass or playing our instruments, we're going to be in better shape to do that. I hope you find this information helpful. I do want to point out that I am not a physician or a orthopedic surgeon or somebody that deals with hands specifically, but this is practical information that I'm sharing with these little tools that have come my way because I've been looking for a way to keep my hands limber and in good shape, especially because I hadn't had as many opportunities as I'd wanted to play. And I'm hoping that as time goes by and I find more time, that I'm going to stay in the kind of shape where I can really continue to enjoy playing music, playing my bass. So that said, give any of these a whirl. If you want any further information, I'll make sure that a lot of the links so you can find these things are attached to this particular video and article. And if you need more input, certainly don't hesitate to contact us at Bass Musician Magazine. We are going to be bringing many more interesting things your way. So don't forget, check up on us continuously because there's a lot more coming your way. BassMusicianMagazine.com.